In this next tutorial, you are going to be learning some of the different drawing commands associated with AutoCAD, or in your case, you're going to be relearning them. Alright, so we're going to be going over in this the O-snap, rectangle, circle, polygon, copy and paste, polyline versus regular line, the arch, and that is all we'll be going over right now. So all of the drawing commands for AutoCAD are going to be labeled right over here. All right, and we're basically going to be going over these guys for the most part. So the first thing that you want to do is open up your workspace. If you can see it right here, this is my workspace, and you want to save it as the next assignment. All right, so we're going to go to Save As, and you guys are going to be saving this as drawing commands, and make sure that it is in your CAD 3D folder. So that's the first thing you do. Open up your workspace, save it as drawing commands. Yes, a diameter, 2.3 point, but for the most part, we usually do a radius whenever we're using the circle command. So I'm going to click it, and now basically what you're going to do is look to your command line. This right here, this is telling you that it wants you to specify your center point of the circle. So if I want my center point, if I'm looking off the directions over here, it's telling me that my center point is an absolute point at 1 comma 1. The next thing that it's asking you is specify the radius of the circle. Now I want my radius, and it's telling me over here, this is how you determine if it's a radius, that the radius is going to be 0.5. It's that simple. Alright, that's how you do a circle. Now, if I wanted to do a rectangle, all I have to do is go over to my drawing commands right over here, and you're going to see a drop down between rectangle and polygon. So I'm going to hit my rectangle, and all I have to do is specify my first point. Let's say that I don't want to do it exactly like this, and I just want to make anywhere. That's going to be my first point. I just clicked anywhere, and that's now my first point. Now it's going to ask me to specify my second point, or my other corner. This is where I want to use relative coordinates. I want to say at that point, so it's not going anywhere. I want to go to the right and to the left. I'm sorry, to the right a certain distance and up a certain distance. So this rectangle to my right over here is saying that I want it to be 3 inches by 1.5 inches. So now I just replicated that rectangle right there. Now let's say that I want to do a polygon. This drop down bar right here. Now the next thing that I want to do is a polyline. By doing that, all I have to do is go over to my rectangle drop down, and you'll see that it has a polygon line, or you can do a rectangular one. I'm going to choose the polygon one. So now it's asking you to enter the number of sides that you want. I'm going to place 6 sides. The next thing that the command line asks you, alright, is to specify the center of the polygon. I can either do an absolute point, or I can do a relative point, or I can just click anywhere in the page, which I just did. The next thing it asks you is to inscribe in the circle, or do I want to circumscribe in the circle? I want to always inscribe in the circle because it's always going to give me the exact dimensions that I'm looking for. So I'm going to press I, enter, and now my polygon will appear. The next thing that it's going to ask me is to specify my radius. I want my radius to be 0.75. Enter. And now I have my polygon. To show you exactly what I'm talking about, that means if I have my radius at 0.75, that means my overall diameter should be exactly 1.5 inches. So let me go to my linear dimensioning. And there you go, 1.5 inches polygon. This is definitely a great tool to have, so make sure that you remember it. Delete that. The next thing in your drawing toolkits, you are going to have this polyline right here. Now the difference between a polyline and a regular line is this. If I use a regular line and I made 1, 2, 3 different lines, they are separate. I can click them individually. I can click this one and erase the center one. With a polyline, however, if I did that exact same action, press escape, and I go to click anywhere, it's one line. That's how it's represented, as just one line. Now, this definitely can come in handy. For example, if let's say that I wanted to make a rectangle, but I don't want to use the rectangle command, I want to use the line command for whatever reason, I can just use this. I can use my polyline, press escape, and it's basically just made a rectangle, and now everything is highlighted when it's basically one drawing. So I can click it at any portion of the drawing and it'll highlight the entire or select the entire drawing itself. Okay. Now, if you look at your screen that you're going to be doing, you're going to notice that you're going to have to make this drawing right here. And you do that using the polyline. Okay, so first it asks you to specify your start point. Alright, your start point, I'm going to make mine pretty much anywhere, so I'm just going to click it right here. Now, after I click it, I'm going to put my mouse in the direction that I want it to go. The next thing that it asks you is to specify next point. I want to press A to represent that I want to do an arc. So A, enter for arc. The next thing that it's asking you is specify the end point of the arc. Alright, well my end point, I want it to be 1 inch away. Now I'm just going to move this all the way out, and I'm going to press, it says specify endpoint of arc. I'm going to press 1 again. 1, enter. This is representing 1 inch. 1 inch, enter. 1 inch, enter. 1 inch, enter. Escape when you're done. Now what I have here, let me go to radius. It's actually telling you that I have a radius of a 1/2 inch, and that's basically what your arc is. If I were to complete this circle, it would be a radius of a 1/2 inch. Okay, so that's how you use your polyline, and that's the difference between the line and the polyline. So it can come in handy. The next drawing tool is going to be the arc. Now, if you do the drop down, you can notice that there are many different types of arcs that you can use for your drawings. And I'm not going to go through every single one of them drawing, and you guys are going to be replicating this right over here. Okay, so if I were to do this drawing, I need 2 lines. Here's one, and I need a line that's exactly the same length right up here. So what I'm going to do is copy this line and move it up. Now I know it's not exactly the same size over here, but this is just for the direction. You can figure that out later. The next thing I want to do is I want to use the 3-point arc, but I can't use it because I don't know what my third point is. I have my first and my second. I'm sorry, my first and my third, but I don't know what my middle one is. So I have to find the center. If you have all of your snaps on, that you should, that means that it's easy to find the center of all these objects. Just to make sure, if you don't, you can go right down here, you can right click, and it tells you all of the different snaps that you should have on, and midpoint should be one of them. So, and then right over here, this is where you have to do just a little bit of math, alright? And this is going to be, I'm just going to make this one 1.5. This isn't what yours is. This is what I'm going to do for this one. Okay. Now I can click my 3-point arc, and it's just a matter of clicking 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now, if you're worried about these guys right over here, there is trimming tools that you can use, which we will do in another video. Alright, now I want to take all these drawings, and I want to move it back into the right location. So I'm going to highlight everything, press move, click my center point, and I want it to go exactly where it originally was, and that was at 1, 1. You do not have to do any of the dimensioning. All I need you to do now is to print it out, write your name on it, and check it on the